Rage. What is the embodiment of that? When I think of rage, one thing comes to my mind: Guts in his Berserker armor. The Berserker armor embodies what rage truly is. It feeds on Guts' rage and turns him into a literal monster. This armor gives Guts a boost in power, but it does in turn eat away at his body and mind. But it's still cool as fuck though, and y'all know me, if there's something cool, I want a figure of it. And I want an action figure of the Berserker armor so bad. Figma made the Berserker armor, but it is really expensive now because it's been years since its release, and I was not going to go on my way to go get it. Then when Tamashii announced that they were making Berserk figures, I was like, holy shit. But then we soon found out that they were a major letdown due to horrible QC and design choices. Like, the Guts figure literally upsets me so much. $100 figure can't even keep his wrist on the pegs and has parts that break easily. And then Griffith was decent, but his faces were off. So I was honestly done with the line. But Tamashii still had plans despite their failures, as they announced that they were making the Berserker Armor SH Figuarts. I was hyped, but damn, after that last Guts figure, I was not going to get too excited. So I decided to wait to see what others had to say about the figure. And once others got this figure, I could definitely see that it's an improvement and is amazing. So of course, I had to cop. And now the figure is here. So is the figure actually an improvement and amazing? Let's find out. Guts box is so damn badass. It's a black and blue color scheme that looks like the starry night sky. Front of the box shows some really clean artwork of the Berserker armor. One thing though, since that this figure is dark, it is extremely hard to see him in the packaging. The top of the box has an image of the figure. Both sides of the box have really cool images of the figure and some dynamic poses. The back of the box sinfully showcases just how badass this figure is, and some of the interchangeable parts that it comes with. Overall, this box is beautiful, but I'm going to go berserk looking at this guy in the box. Let's go ahead and get this guy open. This is what the fuck I'm talking about right here. This figure is literal peak. It is such a masterpiece of a figure to look at. The proportions on this figure are spot on. He looks like he was ripped straight from the manga. Like, the detailing on this figure is insane. His armor is beautifully sculpted with like a light reddish shading on it. The eyes on the helmet reflect light and can look like they are glowing in certain poses and lighting. The back of the figure has a hole in the back, which can be used to plug a stand in for posing. His cape is also really badass and looks how it would look in the manga with the coloring and texture that it has. Also, it can bend, so that helps a lot with posing. Now, he looks beautiful, but are his QC and design choices the same as the first Guts? Nope. I can gladly say that they improved a ton with this figure. He can actually hold his sword. They changed the wrist peg on this one, and now the hands can actually stay on. Thank goodness. I would have been so upset if he couldn't hold a sword. Now, the sword is still way too heavy, and the pegs can't fully support it, but they don't fall off. So they need to make the sword lighter, but I haven't had too many issues with posing him with his sword. Especially when you use two hands, and then there isn't any issue at all. And you can use the cape while posing to help support the sword in some shots, which is what I like to do. This figure also moves way more fluidly in the legs than the first Guts, and it has been a blast testing this figure's articulated limits. But I did have one issue with posing this figure. His right thigh piece kept on snapping apart, so I had to glue it together, and now it's fine, but be aware of this issue. I'm just glad that this figure doesn't suffer from the same issues as the first figure. Like, I genuinely despise him. Hopefully his reissue will have some improvements with his flaws. But this figure right here though is literally so peak, and I've been having such a blast with this figure. So now, let's go ahead and check out his accessories. Guts comes with a good bit of accessories. First, he comes with 4 different interchangeable hands. He comes with 2 fisted hands, 2 relaxed hands, and then 2 open claw hands. And then he comes with 2 sword holding hands. The hands on this figure all look great and can actually stay on. Guts then comes with his cannon hand. This is a really badass accessory to have and has been adding a lot more playability to this figure. Then he comes with 2 separate faceplates, which are meant to go onto his 2 alternate helmets that he comes with. Both of the faces look really good to me, and the teeth gritted face is really cool with how it shows the effect that the Berserker armor is having on him. The 2 helmets he comes with are also really badass. My favorite one that he comes with is the normal one. This is the look that the Berserker armor had before Guts puts it on. And I really love the way this looks. Like, it looks good with the faces, but I really like it without it. It looks really dark and sinister. It's just a badass and iconic look. Then Guts has this helmet that's like when he still has somewhat of control over the Berserker armor. I think it looks good and the faces look good in it as well. Also, each time you swap his helmet, you need to swap his chest and neck piece to match that helmet. So this one goes with the skull helmet, and this one goes with the other one. I'm very happy they included extra helmet options as they look amazing and I've been loving it. Guts then comes with 2 leg pieces. These are so that he can crouch even lower to get in some of his crouching poses better. Put these on, all you gotta do is pop both of the legs off and take the thigh pieces out of them. Taking the thigh piece out can be a hassle, and then plugging it into the alternate leg takes a little force as well. But then you pop both of his feet off and plug them in, and then pop his leg pieces on. I didn't even know I was going to enjoy these leg pieces, but I really do, because they help him get into even more dynamic poses, and you can mismatch them and have one articulated leg on and one with the crouching legs on and use them together. I'm really loving these pieces. Then lastly, of course, he comes with his Dragon Slayer sword. It's still heavy as fuck, but it does look really good. Also, if you have the other guts, now you can have them dual wield. Be careful though, because if you drop it, the top of the sword can bend, and it did happen to mine. Overall, for accessories, I love them, and I can't think of anything else he could come with besides maybe a little pug. So now, let's look at this guy's articulation. This figure's articulation is amazing. This guy moves how an SH Figuarts should, and I haven't had hardly any issues getting him in any pose that I want. First, his head can look up this far, and then it can look this far down. There's a little tilt at the head, and it can look side to side. The neck can move well all around. Also, the mouth is articulated, which is fantastic, and it's so fun to mess around with.
Hey you, yeah you, subscribe to Super Sonic Racer 64 right now.
Now, if you open it up too much, it can look a little weird. Gut's shoulders are limited a little bit by his armor, and they can go up this far. He then has a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that are hindered a little bit by his armor, and then he has wrist movements. His arms can go this far forwards and then this far backwards. The upper diaphragm articulation on mine is a little stiff, so I don't want to risk breaking it. But the bottom diaphragm waist movement is really good and makes up for it. His legs can go ridiculously far upwards, and then go really far backwards, and then a decent bit outwards. He then has rotation at the thigh, a great amount of flexion at the knee, and then amazing ankle articulation. Like, the ankle rocker is insane and moves so smooth. And of course, he has toe joints. Overall, this guy's articulation might have a few limitations, but it still poses so good. His articulation alone makes this figure amazing, and has been so much fun testing its limits. So now, let's do some figure comparisons. For comparisons, here he is next to normal Guts. I'm so glad they improved this fig from the last release. The Guts head doesn't fit on the peg, or at least when I try it doesn't, so I use sticky tack to have the Guts head on his armor if I choose. This is a really badass look. Next, thanks to Ham's figure on Instagram, here he is next to SH Figuarts Griffin. Here he is next to Figma Guts. Now here he is next to SH Figuarts Gojo. Here he is next to SH Figuarts Chainsaw Man. I feel like they'd be best friends. Here he is next to Demoniacal Fit Goku. And lastly, here he is next to Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hama. So for my final thoughts, yeah, this figure is just ass, is what I said about the first fig. This one is literally amazing. I love this figure so much and have been having a blast with him. The fact that he can hold his sword is all that I wanted, and also his articulation is so damn good. The fun I've been having with this figure is what I thought I was going to have with the first. Tamashii nailed it with this release and cooked us up a phenomenal looking figure that poses amazing. If you want this figure, then I check out eBay or Hobby Genki. Or if you want to wait till the US release, then I check it out on Amazon. Now, the figure is pricey, but it's worth it in my opinion, especially if you love Berserk. So I'd say cop. We're done though with this review, guys. I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.